talking about two big heavyweights, man, and in the world of these heavyweights dancing around each other, nobody wants to get it popping. Like Anthony Joshua, he wanted to play four corners and play safe house with the belts. Why not see this fight? Let's enter the boxing clinic. It's your boy CJ Goodfella, and we know Jarrell Big Baby Miller is going to try to one up Deontay Wilder by dispatching of Gerald Washington faster than Wilder did. A lot of people believe, and I believe, that Washington gave Wilder, fits early on, but you have to remember, this kid had a hand injury and a shoulder injury, and he was fighting with it every other couple months, so he had never had a layoff like that, and he's already still in the learning process of trying to get this boxing thing together. And what's funny is I just watched True School Sports, Brandon Taylor, the homie video, about 8 months he did back with Jarrell Miller, talking about that sparring, that he had with Deontay Wilder. Now, in this interview, he's, what was said about the sparring is Wilder beat his ass and sent him to the hospital with a concussion. Miller said that's not what happened. He said he had been running 2 miles, ended up coming to the gym. He was in Alabama. They asked him to spar with Deontay Wilder. Said he did good the first few rounds. In the last round, they said he looked slow. He looked like he was tired. And he sat down, and his cousin that's from Alabama showed up to the sparring late. I'm paraphrasing here. And said, you think you should go to the hospital? He said he went to the hospital. The doctor said he was dehydrated, needed some fluids. That's all that happened. Now you hear that people saying that, not necessarily coming from the Wilder camp, I think that's where it had to originate from, but that he got knocked out and he had a concussion. He said none of that happened. So, he's been vocal, very vocal about fighting whoever. And, it's time for him to step up if he gets past Washington. They've been saying that he's the future, he's this, he's that. Time to step up. I'm tired of hearing him talk. Not saying that I don't like the kid, I do, out of New York. But it's time to do some, he moving his mouth more than he moving his hands. And I'd love to see him step up versus Wilder and get that title shot. He called out Anthony Joshua today. That ain't happening. He was willing to fight Luis Ortiz in the past, Miller, and tried to make a deal with Eddie Hearn by saying that, if I beat Ortiz, I got to get a mandatory shot in the contract with Anthony Joshua. Eddie Hearn wasn't going for that as well. Joshua ain't fighting anybody that's a threat to him no time soon, unless they really, really have to, and it's really built up and it's worth the dollar, or the pound. But this fight would be interesting, and I think a lot of people, are still hung up on Miller, and obviously a lot of people, if you follow my page or follow boxing on social media, are still not sold on Deontay Wilder as well. I think this would be a great cross matchup for Wilder if he can't get Joshua in the ring, if he's not going to fight Ortiz. And I think Fury is done. He sounded deflated yesterday in the interview he did on Boxing Nation. Like I told you guys a couple weeks ago, he ain't coming back. He's done. Deontay Wilder said the same thing. Fury is not coming back to the sport of boxing. I looked at his body yesterday. He looked just as big as he did 2-3 months ago. So he ain't losing the weight. It ain't melting off. He done. I think he's done. But as far as these two guys, it'd be a good build-up to a fight. I mean, Wilder said today that he got a big fight announcement coming on, and Dylan White was talking shit on his Instagram post. So it'll be a good matchup. I mean, why not? It'd be, Miller's about to get some exposure on PBC. I believe it'll be a televised card. Wilder, said he got a big fight coming up. I don't know who. It got to be Bermane Stiverne, unless he works something out with the WBC. And if it's not Bermane Stiverne, I think it should be Miller. I honestly do. I think if Miller wins this fight, it should be Miller and Wilder. A big, American, Fox, NBC, CBS fight, main event, build it up, sell it. Both guys are colorful, had good personality. And I think potentially the winner could put enough pressure on Anthony Joshua where, he has to come over here and fight him, or they have to go over there and fight him, and it could be built up in the right way. It seems like Ortiz is out in the cold, but it is what it is. He's Joshua mandatory. He's not. Miller's mandatory, not. Wilder's mandatory. He's not. Klitschko's mandatory. He's Anthony Joshua's mandatory. He got to deal with that. WBA got to deal with that. But this is the fight I want to see. If I can't see the Joshua and Wilder, let's go.